What up, what up? Welcome to the Living Levitated Tube Scope. Welcome, replayers. I am here right now to help you guys deal with anxiety. What's up, Mark? You coming in hot already. Can't believe it. Awesome. Yep, so this topic is going to be all about anxiety, and my 10 system step here, it's actually no sequential order, but the 10 ways that I've helped overcome anxiety in my life and the people around me in their life. All of these steps are valid. I know they work. Tried and true. Used to have the most crippling anxiety ever, and now I'm pretty, I'm able to deal with it very, very easily. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't ever happen. I'm not saying that anxiety never comes into my life, but I know how to deal with it. So if you guys have, deal with anxiety, feel free to let me know, comment and say, yeah, I do. Maybe tell me what city you're from or something. Yep. So before I start off, I'm very valuable tips on how to deal with it. But I gotta rep the sponsors because Periscope doesn't run itself. I got the Finley hats, Finlay. Check them out, Finley hats. Full disclosure, it's company, but I gotta pimp him out. He's got this little string here. You put it around your neck. You can sports. You can go jet skiing. You can jump out of airplanes. I'm telling you, by angels. It was created by the gods in the world. Go check them out. They're in the malls. Anyway, that's enough of that. But tell them that Steve said style. Anyway, right now. Anyway, back to the anxiety. I gotta get to it. I ain't gonna make you guys listen to ads on Periscope. So what we're talking about right now is anxiety. So my number is, if you guys are ready for this, please let all your friends know about it. Share it right now. I want you to swipe up or to the side and share. Not asking you to subscribe to me, just asking you to share, because this needs to get out there. Oh, thank you, Fern, thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. Let them all try. It's great info that I got for them. All right, so here it is. Oh, Mark, by the way, I hear about your sugar. I want to know what you're eating right now. What are you doing to stay satiated? How that diet's going for you? On some good stuff, though. All right. Number 1, anxiety. You got to recognize. Oh, wraps. This one real quick. Mark's important to me. Been eating wraps. Okay, there we go. Exactly. Got fiber. If you have that fiber in your stomach, for sure. But this is anxiety talk to it. But I just had to check up on my boy Mark. Number 1, you gotta recognize that there's a version of yourself. You know what I'm saying? Every day we like to define ourselves as a certain thing, and you're like, I'm that person with. And so you let yourself get more and more worried about things. That we're always a changing thing, and we're never just one being. Then you can realize that was just the problem-solving me. That was the worried me. There's other versions of you that can solve the issues, right? So there's more than one version of you. You can put in the place of the person who's more rational about your situation, why you're panicking. And but that seems a little bit kind of like, wishing away anxiety. Then I understand where you're coming from. If you have anxiety and it's crippling, like it has been, it's hard when people try to give you advice and you're like, what anxiety? It's hard to really listen to what they're saying, like, oh, it's for you. How do you just get away? But it's not always the case. And so I'm going to lead you into step 2 for anxiety. Interrupt the pattern of thought. Humans are pattern repeaters, and that helps us function in society. Is that we also repeat the negative patterns. And this is when you're anxious, you're starting to worry, right? And then when you're worried, you notice that you're worried about that thing. So you notice your anxiety, and then that starts rolling down. Then the next thing you know, you have a snowball of anxiety, and it's you over, right? And so what we do together here, as a family, we're choosing our family members here at Living Levitt, is we're going to interrupt that pattern, something else that distracts our brain. Whatever that might be. Go with a group of people. To do sometimes when I get anxious, I like to sing really loud when I'm super loud. If you get really in harmony with that couple of minutes, you forgot what you were worried about. You know what I'm saying? And it'll go away real quick. You interrupted the pattern and you diverted. Break the chain from slavery, Mark. Exactly. You know what I mean? To anxiety. You got to break the chain from it, But the most important thing is stop for a second and say, hey, I'm being irrational. Let me see if I can replace this with something else. And the way that I best, when I say interrupt that anxiety, recognizing it. Say, hey, that's anxiety inside. Once I realize that that's anxiety, I'm going to hug. I'm going to say hello to that. Instead of being so mad at yourself for being anxious, just stop. Oh, anxiety, I see you there. I see you trying to protect me, but you're just misguided right now. Talk to your anxiety. Anxiety is not you. People always, I'm so anxious all the time. I'm such an anxious person. Setting yourself up for downfall. You're setting yourself up for. Just recognize the anxiety comes, and then give it a hug. Say, you got my back. but I got this one. My rational brain's gonna, and you can kind of talk yourself out of that situation. Right, or am I right? Thank you for those hearts. You know that was a good one, solid one. Laying down the gems on the floor. Got the floor made of diamonds. You know what I'm saying? Number 3. All right, this one's a question yourself. When time that I had a good workout? Been anxious lately, and you've noticed that it's been a little bit more and more crippling. You're worried about stuff a lot. Haven't went and worked out on had a really heavy workout. So I suggest to you, jump on, right? Or go do your yoga, go do your meditation. A lot of the time we do it, we're like, oh man, my anxiety went away. It was so great. Neglect to go back and do it. So just ask yourself, I had a real good sweat session. When's the last time I really let myself go therapeutically, When did I treat my... Because perhaps your body just needed to be treated right. Ask yourself that. When's the last time I worked out? And then, there's a lot of other things. See, people think anxiety always comes from one spot, from all over. More anxious? Well, it's the heart rate, but I would think that, your compensatory response. There's a response. So your heart rate does increase, but actually out for, the next, hours, it's a good amount of hours, you're actually reflects that, increasing. So your blood pressure goes down, you're relaxed, you're in a more relaxed, you've gotten that energy that was pent up inside of you out. So, personally, the name, but does working out make you anxious? And if so, I'd also like to know if maybe you're taking a pre-workout stimulant or something. Because that incidentally puts me into my next topic, my next point on anxiety here. My number 4 is stimulants. America is a big user of stimulants. Yeah, well, it's too hard. And I know sometimes where you're like, oh god, one thing that I do well for me is this year, I know for a long time, but this year I've really started to focus on deep breathing to my diaphragm in between every set. Like, right, I'll do really deep. But I'll also put the mindset in that I'm in a good place, like I'm creditor. And then that lets my mind know that, even of effort, that I'm comfortable and that I'm not stressed. And you got to trick your brain into thinking that you're powerful and that you feel good, right? Always got to trick your brain into doing things. Brain work for you. So that can be a really big thing. So I want to talk about stimulants. Are so addicted to stimulants that they don't realize that it's increasing their fight or flight, aka the sympathetic nervous system. Get it? The chase this. I want that. The chase after sex, chase after the instant gratification, the sugar, and all of that. Because we're taking so many stimulants and we're always on the go. We get anxious. I know if you have too much coffee, you're gonna start worrying about other stuff. Because you're not conscious that you're being anxious about something. If you have too much stimulant going on, that's going to put a toll. That's going to make you anxious. If I have more than one day myself, I recognize the anxiety. Stop. If I have 2 coffees, before the afternoon, I have to stop and meditate in the afternoon. And I'll meditate once a day, but I'll have to make it twice because I had too much coffee. So I have to tell my, system to say, hey, kick in a little bit. We don't need to be so ham on this fight or flight. Like, what are we worried about? And the stimulants, that'll do that. Same thing, with Adam, whatever else people are taking these days. These stimulants are making us anxious. I know you guys resonate with that. Does anybody out there get wired? They're like, oh man, I'm getting a little bit right now. And that's probably why. So, a good combatant to that though, which is for anxiety, is there's supplements for it. We don't want to be hooked on supplements. We don't want to be dependent upon supplements for our anxiety, but it's great to use an effective tool. So fast, quick shout, but you could just Google for anxiety. That's a great way to do it. The ones I like, theanine is good. Chamomile tea is good. Bunch of herbal teas are great. There's a chemical called phenibut, Phnibut. If you want to Google phenibut, it acts on receptor to what Xanax, those like medication, anti-anxiety pills act on. I believe it's like the beta receptor instead of for anxiety. That being said, be addictive, so don't overdo it. I would only really need it. But it is really powerful to buy online, so you don't need a prescription. But it is very similar to Xanax. So that's a good tip out there. If you get panicked, maybe you fight anxiety or something like that, phenibut could be a good option. Again, it has addictive tendencies, so be very careful if you kind of have nature. Right? All right. The next one that I have is to ask yourself, am I anxious? Why am I? Do you ever ask that, or are you just anxious? Because I realized that, and I know that I've heard this from greats. I realize this, it's probably because I heard it from someone smarter than I am. Sometimes I smoke a little too much, and then I forget who I heard. But I do know that, You know, it's our subconscious is trying to tell us something sometimes. Subconscious, you know, if you ask why anxiety is attacking us, maybe it's your subconscious trying to tell you something. Maybe it's you know, am I supposed to be working on? Maybe that's why you're worried about it. Guilty about something. And so that's why you're anxious. Recognize why you're anxious and maybe you and actually get rid of it like that. You know, something, you know, you've been neglecting to do. It's just like off a bunch. Well, if you do that thing, sleep. Wow, Mark, that is probably number one anxiety tip. And on my list of my 10, this is why I need you here, Mark. Sleep. Yes. Make sure you're getting good quality sleep, though, everybody. Don't get caught up on how long. You only sleep for 4 hours, but if it was like a really damn good, you'd feel fresher than you would sometimes for 8 sleep. And what happens is people get so worried, oh, I need my hours. And they set that definition for themselves, and because they need this, they think they're tired. I'm telling you, though, a really deep, good sleep, you know, at 6, you just got a good workout in, and then you got a massage or something. That 6 hours, as long as it's quality, it's going to be golden set to go. So just make sure you're getting quality sleep and enough of it. If you're not getting enough power naps, golden. You're absolutely right. You are very wise. Very wise. Good tips. Good tips. And the naps are good, too, as long as they don't make you super groggy. Absolutely. And so when I say ask yourself, why are you what's causing your anxiety? What's the root of your anxiety? These questions. Then you can realize that is in the return. Now that's my next tip, is that the healing is in the return. And by that is that the faster we can return the not anxious state, that's all. Don't hold on to the guilt anxious. Don't feel sad that you're mad at yourself for being anxious. Again, like I said earlier, recognize that the healing and the growth and, you know, the feeling good part, return process. So just try to focus on how fast being normal, you know, instead of worrying, focusing on why your anxiety is so bad. Just, you know, give it a hug. That's what I said. Give anxiety, say hi to it. Say, what's up, neighbor? I see you there. Exactly. It's trying to help you. It happens. You know, anxiety is a soul with good intention. But sometimes it can lead you astray and make you do what you're doing. Or lead you towards chemicals, or lead you towards life. Resistance to not living life to the fullest. And that's for we're living to the fullest here, right? Kablam! I see it. You know that's what it's about. It's about that get that good stuff. It's about that good. We all deserve love. We all deserve to fight. So we get it pumped. We get it jacked. Why be anxious? Why be accepting equals the first step? Yes, there's more than one version of you. Not the anxious you. The anxious you is just trying to help is not always work, you know? Be the you that's the governor you. The you that's in control of you. The Schwarzenegger you know, the badass, the role. Drive your ship. And then the anxiety quell itself. It will relax. You face it. You get ice water sometimes, right, Mark? When the pool's cold, sometimes you plug up that nose and jump on in. And that's another thing. Sometimes you just got to face it and deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Number 8. This is more of along the line performance anxiety or, you know, date anxiety. Any sort of perform you do like once or twice. You know, something like that. My suggestion to you is practice. Yes, we're practice. If you do something over and over and you break it down into little segments, do a speech that's 10 minutes long, a speech down into 10 1-minute, and practice each of those 1-minute segments, then you'll be the master of that speech, right? And then when you get on that stage, is get in that auto mode because you've already done it over and over and over. Gone, right? As soon as you open your, maybe you'll be anxious before you step on the stage, but as soon as the word out and you have that autopilot, you know, all anxiety's gone. You're going to be energized because you're sharing good information. Another tip about the anxiety there, and it's maybe information, is just share good content. Anxious because you know you're helping. You're giving good stuff. You guys are giving me good stuff back. I haven't stopped to ask for them because you guys are just, I'm loving the hearts. Can you guys do though? I want you to put up 2 fingers and make it rain. Make it rain. Double. I want a double with cheese, please. Yes, muscle memory. That's what it's about. Absolutely what it's about. If you practice over and over making you anxious, you're not going to be anxious. When I first started working out at the gym, be super anxious about it. I didn't want to be around all the buff dudes. I was really fat. I had man boobies. You know, I was worried all the time. But then I practiced going into that weight room. And then it became my most case. Now it's main. It's like my church. When I'm in the gym, I feel at most I'm in a flow state. I'm ease. And that's because I faced that and gone, like Mark said in the room here. Anybody have anything to say about anxiety, feel free to talk about it, because I'm not here. You guys are with me. We all have this. Every anxiety, you know. Yeah, you don't see me being fat? Oh man, I got some challenges that would surprise you. I'll have to find something like that. Do a side-by-side fat to shred photo, you know what I'm saying? I'll get that going later in the future, but you'll see when I'm, just to prove to you guys I'm not just some guy. I got pictures of all my family. They're all big people. So the last tip there was whatever you're anxious about. You have anxiety really bad, you have to check my have put time into the thought on this. Not for the sake of the scope, but my own life, because I used to have the worst crippling, and now I feel pretty free most of the time. So, you know, I just know the things that number 9, now that I got to move to it, write it out. If you get anxious, sometimes it really to write it down on paper and write down about, because then when you reread it, you can see anxiety is, if you write it down, you can be more why you're being anxious. Personally, do a journal and if I look at my old notes, I used to write down, I'm anxious, I'm worried about that. And now that I go back and look at those notes, I almost for the things that I was worried about. And we all get worried about silly shit. So sit down and check yourself and see if you're silly. There's so many other good reasons to journal. Everybody's been talking about journal. Write down why you're anxious, and that's going to help you out. A girl had cards with little things to do to break. So you mentioned a few things that I talked about right there. Break anxiety, recognizing that it's a pattern, something there like a tool to help you find. You know, that's what cards do. Those cards are just switching up your mind. And it's sort of like writing it out. It's like recognizing you're anxious. So, you know, her getting rid of anxiety is effective because, you know, it does all of those things. A few of the tips that I just gave. Number 10, the biggest, most of all, is more than a tip. This one is a gift. This is my gift to everybody that is presenting me the gift of listening to my voice. Probably the millions of people out there raving and ranting about the big-eyed living levitated master, Steven Herrera. I know it. And by the way, that was all just kidding. I'm not that big-headed. 10. Recognize that anxiety is a verb. Anxiety is a verb. Have you ever thought about that? Anxiety is not a noun. Everybody goes to the doctor and they say, I have anxiety. I need pills to fix this. I'm anxious. I'm an anxious person. Sometimes you hear people say that. I'm an anxious person. No, you're not. You're a wonderful person. You know, anxiety is just some verbing you right now. You know, it's an effect. It's something that's happening early. It might feel permanent when you're at an anxiety attack. You know, I've had real anxiety attacks. It's crippling. It feels like you're going to die. That's how bad it is. I know how bad anxiety is. I'm passionate about this. I'm so passionate about this video because I had crippling anxiety. And so, number 10 is the thing that fixed me. I am the person. Verb. Sometimes I'm anxious, but when I recognize that that's not my defining characteristic. I recognize that it's a verb in my life. It's happening. And so, because I can recognize that, I know my situation, changing how I'm acting, what I'm doing. So if you go through all of those steps, you can switch your mindset to seeing how it's a verb and how to get yourself out of that, you know, that action, that thing that's happening to you. Thank you for that. Share. Yeah, this is good stuff. So share it up. Share. Sharing is caring, right? Sharing is caring. I could rhyme stuff. Sharing is caring. I should rap for you guys. Anyhow, you know how we do it. It is time. It's the weekend. Don't let anxiety stop. That's for sure. Please don't let it stop you. Do yourself that favor. It's time to have fun this weekend. Now it's the freaking week. Just have a good time, right? Let's party. Let's get it. Everybody, let me know what you did this weekend or what you're going to. Love you guys. I might be on this weekend, but I'm always going to be here Monday through Friday. I might end up getting the habits of being on Saturday and Sunday too, but Monday through Friday here for you guys. Thank you for watching. Please watch the replay. Catch all of my 7 tips for ridding your anxiety. They're all good stuff. They're all gems. I wouldn't waste your time. I wouldn't waste wasting time. I'm about fixing time. I'm about giving people more. I want to do what I'm talking about right now, because if you get anxiety, you're going to have more time focusing on fun and good and happiness, beauty, and everything else that in life that tickles